Good day to you, nerds. This is Symphony of the Nerds. I guess it doesn't need any introduction. I've been doing these videos for a while, but it's taken a while to get me recording again. I just finished Star versus the Forces of Evil, and I remember right before it came out, I think it was like last year, maybe February or March, and I was like, this seems like an interesting show. I still like Disney shows, so I think I'll give it a try when it comes out, but I totally forgot about it. And then when I got reminded of it earlier, or last week, because of a Fredinator video talking about was the top 10 cartoon weapons, listing Star's wand as one of them, I was like, oh yeah, there's that show I meant to watch. And so I totally tuned in and loved it. But it's interesting, and it's building a catalog of or the growing catalog of really good children's cartoons that can be appreciated beyond just slapstick comedy and just randomness, I guess. Things that can have like a real emotional impact and have some sort of plot line that's important enough to eventually kind of steer the series, a la Adventure Time, Steven Universe. I don't necessarily put Regular Show in that category, but Regular Show has definitely shown a lot of changes, structural changes throughout its years. But Star vs. Forces of Evil is, of course, in that whole little set. But it's interesting in that I feel like it almost borrows from anime because her wand looks like Sailor Moon's wand, which also attracted me to it. And a show about a 14-year-old girl beating up monsters and having a wand where she can pretty much say anything and it happens is pretty interesting. And I love coming of age stories, if you didn't already know. How I watched it, it said there were 13 episodes, but almost every episode is an 11-minute episode, like those other shows I mentioned, and it's cut in half if you look at it that way. So 13 episodes is really 26 episodes, but at least one, if not two or maybe three episodes are actually like technically 20 minutes long. They're like two-parters. So I don't know if you want to count those or not. If you do, if you don't, that's your preference. It has a brisk pace, but there are some episodes that feel a little, I guess, meandery. And I don't mean like in the way of, it just doesn't contribute to the overall plot. Just, I'll say that sometimes it falls into, was it something that I've heard? I can't say because I'm not far enough in MLP to say this, but I've heard that some episodes kind of are for the target audience, whereas most episodes are pretty universal. And I'll say that sometimes Star versus the Forces of Evil remembers that it's a cartoon and actually does like slapstick or something that you find more in like Looney Tunes maybe than what you'll find in most modern day cartoons of its peers, at least. And they'll kind of have a whole episode that'll be like, this character's doing this? Okay, I mean, I guess. And then you think of their age and you put that into perspective. It just, for me, like, I had to like think about the character motivations a little bit more, because it would have been I think I would have complained more if not for the target audience, because I get really into shows. So like once you have a plot line starting, once you're like giving me like a lot of foreshadowing and you're being really obvious with some of the moves you're trying to make, and this show does really try to up the ante, and not necessarily suddenly, but there are some certain episodes that just hit you right in the feels. And it was maybe 4 days of watching, maybe 3. Today is Friday. I started watching on Monday. Okay, so 5 days. 5 days of watching. Doesn't take that long. It's bingeable, but I'd say cut it up into chunks if you're gonna watch it. I think it's better enjoyed in chunks, especially if you can watch it with someone and kind of interact with them. If you like comedies, for sure, check this out. If you're more on the side of like cartoons that like have really, really good, like really well thought out plot points, and like I really like it to be serious. I like, Batman the Animated Series, and I like equivalents to that in the modern day. Maybe don't check this out. I say for those who get into it, just have a little bit of patience, because the end of the season definitely makes it apparent that it's going to continue kind of raising the stakes, as it were. And I'm very interested in where it goes. I mean, it definitely has a few pitfalls in terms of kind of the things it does that doesn't make it special, I guess. Like the things that has in common with other cartoons are kind of like, I feel like it falls into tropes of other cartoons when it's not sure of itself. However, Star herself as a character, I very much like, and she's not Mary Sue, and she's not even like I know a lot of people complained about in The Legend of Korra. Korra's character was like kind of like the polar opposite of Aang, and very macho, and like almost forcing this really masculine approach to feminism, when it could have been handled in a lot of different ways that didn't need to be like the ultimate tomboy trope, I guess, is what a lot of people were thinking. And I like that Star can basically beat people up with her friend, Marco, and wear a dress the whole time. Like, she doesn't wear pants at all, ever, in this series. And I also appreciate, side note, that she has a few different wardrobes. Something that a lot of people complain about, like even shows that were a little bit more earnest, like Doug. Doug wears the same thing every episode. Star has like 3 main outfits. I mean, there's the one she has in the opening, but that's not always the one she wears. And they do have a few episodes where she wears something she's never worn before for a special occasion. And she also has sleepwear. So that's interesting. And I like it. It really throws a little bit of realism into it. I guess also, side note, if you're annoyed by cartoons putting in like, what's the word? Like too much teenagery real life into a show, you might be annoyed by it, just because there's a lot of texting and things like that, although it's usually used to kind of hone in on how we as people are. Like, there's one point where someone's waiting for a text from someone they like for a very long time, and it's just almost a montage of them waiting longer and longer, them getting more and more impatient. And as anyone who has been like in middle school or high school and had a phone and been like messaging whoever, like, oh, I got my crush's number, I was just waiting for them, it's like they got that feeling down perfect. And I think that it's definitely something that can be enjoyed by a lot of different people, but I definitely think the more whimsical of us will enjoy it more, for sure. Man, this video's going on for a very long time, but I technically reviewed the entire season. I tried to be non-spoilery, so that's a plus. Yay me. And I'll try to continue providing content. I know I haven't been doing it so far, but a lot of things have been happening. But very soon I will be laying down the groundwork for a lot more exciting things to happen on this channel and beyond. So, nerd, you stay real. And I lost the game.